I'm going to show you some of the amazing, wonderful features about your microscope that you have here at school. I'm going to show you how to use the microscope, what some of the parts are, and I'm also going to show you how to make a special kind of slide called a wet mount slide that is going to enable you to see some organisms that are in pond water. So first of all, if we're taking a look at our microscope, anytime that you want to carry the microscope, you always want to carry it with two hands. One hand is going to be on this portion of the microscope, which is called the arm of the microscope, and one hand is going to be underneath the base of the microscope. Once you put it in place, of course, plug it in, and then you're going to turn it on. These microscopes have an on-off switch down here at the base. Okay? This section right here is the eyepiece, and as you can see, it rotates, and it does that so that if you're looking at something and I want to look at something, all you have to do is say, "Ms. Jones, come look," and then turn it, and I can look in as well and see the same thing that you're seeing. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure that you always have locked in is the correct objective. These lenses right here, and this microscope has 4 lenses. They're called objectives. And you always want to make sure that the smallest one is locked into place. If for some reason you look in the microscope, the light's on, everything should be working, but it's just completely black when you look in, it's because you didn't lock the objective into place. So this turns around and it locks different objectives in, and you always want to start with the smallest objective locked into place. If you try to start looking for something in one of these other lenses, you will never be able to find it. So chances are you'll call me over, "Ms. Jones, I can't see anything." And I'll look at your scope and it won't have the smallest objective. So make sure you start with that. Also, this is the portion that you're going to be putting the slide on. This is called the stage, and these are the stage clips. Cool thing about the stage clips is that they will hold the microscope slide in place, but then it's also very difficult to move it around if you're trying to look around at different objects. So I just place the clips off to the side. Okay, once you have the microscope on, you've got the smallest objective in place, you're ready to begin making your slide. So what you're going to start with is, of course, the slide itself, which is obviously glass, so dangerous, so be careful. If it's broken in any way, make sure you replace it. Let me know and I'll get you one that's new. You want to hold it up to the light, make sure there aren't any smudges or fingerprints or any smears on it, because every single thing that's on here is going to show up in your microscope. Okay? So then what you're going to do is you're going to come over and you're going to get a sample of the pond water. And what you want is you want to try to find where the organisms are. And most of the time in pond water, the organisms are actually on the plants themselves or in the soil. So you want to try to take your pipette and put it close to the bottom where you can suck up some of the material that was at the bottom of the pond. And then what you're going to do is just going to come over, take the pipette and drop 1 drop in the middle of your slide. I know you're tempted to put more than a drop, but believe me, there are thousands of organisms here in just this one little drop of pond water. If you try to put too much on, it's going to come out over the edges and get all over the stage of your microscope. So 1 drop is plenty. You're then going to get a cover slip. Once again, these are glass. They're really fragile. They'll break easily, so be super careful with them. You're going to hold it into your fingers like this and then just kind of drop it onto that drop of material that you put on your slide. You're then going to place your slide onto your microscope, and once again, if you have it in low power, that should go easily onto the stage. Now I want to point out a couple of other things about this microscope. It has, right here on the side, it has these round knobs, and a small one and a larger one. The big one is the coarse adjustment. So if your eye is on the microscope like this, once you get to where it's mostly in focus, like that, and then you're going to use your fine adjustment, which is this small little knob, and that brings it just to the perfect magnification so that you can see it and it's in focus and it's not all blurry. Once it's perfect like that, you're going to move the slide around while you're looking at it until you see something moving. Once you see something moving, you're going to want to look at that at higher power. Other cool thing about these microscopes is that they are graduated. By that I mean that if you have it in focus in low power, when you move the objective to the next level, it's going to stay mostly in focus. Pretty much all you'll have to do is the fine focus, which is the small knob, again over here on the side. Now the next one is 100 power. This one gives you 40 power. This one gives you 100 power. This next one gives you 400 power. And finally, this last lens gives you 1,000 power. One thing about this last lens, though, is it really only works if you're able to put a drop of oil onto that particular sample. So for the most part, in this class, we will not be using the 1,000 power lens because it is an oil immersion lens. The highest power, though, that we will be mostly using is 400 power. That means that the object that you're seeing with your eyes is 400 times its actual size. Again, when you're done, you're going to take the slide off of the microscope, take it carefully to the teacher, and I will clean it for you. I don't want you to have to clean these slides or the cover slips because, like I said, they are very fragile and I don't want anyone to get hurt. Any questions? Please be sure and ask. Thank you.